The Bhagavad Gita is a portion of a longer epic called the Mahabharata. This epic, the Mahabharata, is an enormous text, 2,000 pages long. This is 1/4 of that text, the longest epic in human history. And it contains the Bhagavad Gita. The Gita is this much of a text 4 times the length of this one book. So you get a sense that the Gita is not a large text, but somehow an important text. This text, the Bhagavad Gita, is a portion of the longer text, the epic Mahabharata, and it helps us in understanding the Gita and why it is what it is, to grasp something about the idea of what this epic text tells the story of. It's a long story, and we could go way, way back in history in order to find its beginnings. But it's enough for us to discover that there are 2 kings who are brothers, born at approximately the same time, and yet born with very different characteristics. One king's name is Dhritarashtra. Born in the lineage of Bharata, he was born blind, and his blindness made him a symbol for attachment. The second child, Pandu, was born virtuous, but had a tragic event happen to him in his life. One of those events that's described in the Mahabharata from time to time. This event is recorded in the early part of the text. Pandu, out in the forest, hunting, as many kings did at that time, shoots a deer. And in the process of shooting a deer, the deer curses him, saying that he had been in the act of making love to his doe. And therefore, Pandu should suffer as well, that if he ever makes love again, he himself will die. Pandu returns home to tell his wives about this awful curse that's been placed on him. And everyone wonders what is to become of the kingdom. Who will be the heir to the king? So Pandu, who is the king himself, retreats to the forest with one of his wives, and his other 2 wives are blessed by a mantra. The mantra that they use allows them to bear children at the behest of one of the gods. And 5 times there are children born. These 5 births are the result of unions with one or another of the gods in heaven and these 2 wives, the chief wife, whose name was Kunti. So, the children of Pandu are called the Pandavas, and there are 5 sons. The children of the blind king, whose name is Dhritarashtra, are eventually born to his wife after a long pregnancy, and there are 100 children born of him, 100 males and 1 female. The eldest son has the name Duryodhana. Duryodhana is the son of a blind king. The Pandavas are the children of Pandu, the authorized king. And these 2 cousins are raised together under the tutelage of a great teacher whose name is Bhishma. These 2 families at first are great friends and companions to one another, but gradually the great question arises, who shall be the next king? Will it be the eldest Pandava or the eldest child of Dhritarashtra? The outcome is that the children of Dhritarashtra, called the Kauravas, these children fight against the Pandavas and in the end cause all of the efforts to make peace to fail. The children of Dhritarashtra and the children of Pandu line up for war against one another to determine the outcome of who shall be the king. And in the midst of that battlefield, there is a space, an open space. The 3rd son, whose name is Arjuna, asks his charioteer, Krishna, to drive into that space. And there a dialogue begins. Based on the one simple question of Arjuna, he says, "My mind is completely disturbed by pity. I don't know what is right from what is wrong. Shall I fight this war or not?" And at that point, Krishna begins his teaching to answer the great question, shall I fight the war of life or not? That's the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita.